Hello guys, welcome back to our introduction to programming with Python series. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at working with files in Python. Okay, so in the other videos from the very beginning of introduction to Python, we learned variables, data type, and all of that. So if you haven't checked those videos out, check the video out. It's a whole Python course on introduction to programming. We teach you programming from the very basics to advanced level. Okay, so now we are looking at working with files in Python. So working with files in Python, like just basically being able to write into a file, reading from a file, copying file from one point to another and stuff like that. But in this case, we just work with files like reading or opening a file, reading or writing to a file, and then closing the file, right? So those are the three main file operations. So opening a file, reading or writing to the file, and then finally closing the file. So that's what we're going to be covering in this video. So let's take a look at how to open a file in Python. So I'm just going to go into my VS Code. So once I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and create another folder, and let me just close some of these tabs. There's just a lot right now, so close all of these tabs. Okay, and I'm going to create a new folder in here. I'm going to call it files, just like that. So I'm going to go inside of this file. I'm going to create a file. I'm going to create another file, Python file. I'm going to call it part31.py. Okay, I've even lost track of the file count, but we just call this one part31.file because I think the last video, previous video was called part30. Yeah. So files are just located locations in memory in which we store data permanently on a disk, right? So just a place in memory where we store data permanently on the disk, and that have a unique name. So let's learn about how to open with files. So let's just give this a title: working with files in Python. So the first thing you want to do is open files. Okay. So to open a file in Python is actually very simple. We just have a variable name. I'm going to call it f and just use the open keyword in Python. So open, and then the first thing we need to pass in is the name of the file. So let's go ahead and create a file inside of our files folder. I'm just going to create a file. I'm going to call it test.txt. Just a file, just a simple file here. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and simply say open the file, and then I have to specify the name of the file or the path to the file. Yeah, basically the path to the file, right? So I'm going to say dot forward slash, and I'm going to say test.txt. Okay, because you say the dot means the current directory, and then forward slash and then move the file. Okay. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and specify the mode in which I want to open the file. So I want to open the file in there are many modes in which you can open the file. So let's take at this mode. Let's look at these modes in which you can open the file. So on my left hand side are the modes, and then my right hand side are the description of what those mode does. So the R mode opens a file for reading. The W mode opens a file for writing, creates the file if it does not exist, and then clears the file if it already exists. Clear the file means that delete everything inside of the file and then like rewrite the whole file from scratch. And then the X opens a file for creation. It fails if the file already exists. So when you want to open a file, if it does not exist, right, then you can use the X mode. We have the A mode, which is also called the append mode. Is used to append content to a file, right? So the write mode will delete everything. So what if you want to add something to the file? Then you have to use append mode, which is going to add at the bottom of the file from the previous content that it already had, right? And then you also have the T mode, which is open the file in text mode. You have the plus mode, open file for reading and writing. And then finally we have the B mode, which opens the file in binary mode. Okay, whenever you're trying to open image files or video files, we'll be using a binary mode, right? Okay, so now that we're looking at some of the common modes, let's go ahead and say we want to open this file in let's just specify the file, the mode. So if you don't specify the mode by default, the mode is just going to be the following. So if you don't specify the mode is let me just get a spelling right. So the mode is going to be an R mode or an RT mode, write text mode, right? So yeah, so again, this is actually just the R mode. So by default, it's open the file in R mode. So you can also open the file in, we say open, and then since this file, you can just specify the name of the file, which because it's in our current directory. Again, if you know how directory structures work, maybe you can let me know in the comment section below. I'll do my best to help you. Just specify the path of the file basically, and then you can go ahead and specify the mode, and you can see the mode is gonna be in R mode, so the read mode, right? So they open the file for read operation. So okay, so open the file, open, and then we need the file name again, text test.txt. okay, text.txt, and then you can open the file in different modes. So you can open the file in append mode, right? So good. Again, sorry, this is gonna be needs to be in strings because string argument, right? So yeah, that's basically how you can open a file. So another way you can open a file is by specifying the different actually using like called a keyword argument. So you can say file equals to, you can also use a keyword argument here. So you can just say the file. So you can say file and then specify the name of the file, which is text.txt, right? And then you can go ahead and specify the mode of the file. So the mode is going to be in you can say append mode. You can also have sorry, it's called the encoding, and the encoding is just like the way the information is encoded within the file. I think by default is UTF-8 in Python, so UTF-8, and it works across all operating system. Right now on Linux, it's gonna work. If you're on Mac, it's gonna work. If you're on Windows, it's gonna work. So don't worry much about the encoding type, but sometimes you need to pay attention to the encoding. So if you go into part like data science, sometimes you need to pay attention to the encoding type of the file. Yeah, that's basically it for how you can open a file in different modes. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and run the code and see if it works. So let me just comment this part out, or you can just have this down. Just opening this file, basically everything here is gonna work. You can comment each other out and try the other one. So just like try one by one line by one by try the try to run each file, each line of code one after the other. That's the trend I'm trying to get to. So once I have this, you can just run the code again and let's see if it works. So we have this exception from the previous video. So I'm going to clear this out, change directory into my files folder, and inside of my file, I can just do Python 3 and then I can just say pat and then run that. Now you can see we get no error because it worked fine. So that's how you can open the file. So now this file is opened. Good. Another way you can open a file in Python is by using something called the context manager. So this is a context manager, and context managers you come across them a lot in Python. They are used quite often. So it's not only used for opening files, it can be used for opening anything basically. So let me just show you how to use a context manager to open a file. So it's the same thing. Specify the text name dot the part of the the file, and then the mode. Let's say you want to open this in append mode and you want to call this file f, and you can just write whatever you want to do with the file inside of this block of code. In this case, you're just going to go ahead and pass because all you want to do is open the specific file. So if you run the code again, it works fine. Good. So we are good to go. So now we are being able to open files, right? So we have opening files. Let me just go back to opening files. So now let's learn how to read and write to the files. Good. So let's first begin with learning how to write to a file. So let me just comment this out. So to write to a file, the first thing you need to do is you need to have the file open, right? You need to open the file. That's when you can be able to read or write to the file, right? So let's go ahead and actually open that file. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here and just say this is going to be called read say read and write operations. So let's go. Let's open the file. So I'm going to say f is going to be open. I'm going to use the open keyword and then passing the name of the file is going to be test.txt, and I want to open this file in a read mode because I want to in a write mode because I want to write to it. So I'm going to open it in a write mode, which is W, right? So once I have that open, I can simply just go ahead and write to the file. So I can just say f.write. So I can just say f.write and then pass in hello world, just like that. Now we're able to write to the file. So that's all we need to do. So I'm going to go into my code. So if I open up this file right now, you can see it has nothing inside. Now let's go in here, run the code, and if you come back, you can see now we have something written inside, and that's what you're specified in here. So that's how it is simple to write to a file. And once you write to a file, you don't have to save it. If you don't have to save it, it's automatically saved, right? So now let's copy this code and paste it twice. Paste it one more. Let's say hello world, and then on the next we want to also save in the Python is awesome, right? So Python is awesome, right? Awesome. So I write the code again. Now if you go back into here, we just see Python is awesome, hello world, and then Python is awesome. But one thing you can notice is that there's this just put next to each other, right? So what if you want a space between? Then you just have to keep a space here, right? And then if you go in here, run the code again, if I go in here, you can see the space. Okay, you might be asking, okay, why we ran the code many times, why don't we have many lines of or many content than we should have, right? Because if you write hello in a book, and you come again write hello another time, and you come again write hello another time, then you should have three hellos, right? But in this case, you are only having just one line, just one hello. So why is that the case? And that brings us back to the file mode. So we open the file in write mode, so it clears the file content each time it tries to write to it. So it deletes everything and then rewrites to it. That's why getting only just this, like this one line, right? So before you write hello in your book, you erase the previous hello and then you write a new hello. And if you want to write again hello in your book, you erase the old hello and you write the new hello, because you're opening the file in read mode. What if you want to append to it? You just use the append method, which is open the file in append mode, right? And all that is here in this. So you can pause this video and read through some of these modes, okay? Now if you run the code again, it's going to write hello, and it's going to add the hello to the existing. So if you run it again, it's going to add more hello to it. So you can see it only gets bigger and bigger, and that's the advantage of using append mode, right? So write mode deletes everything and then write it clean, right? Okay, you can see right here. Okay, so once that's done, one thing you also notice is that maybe you want to go on a new line. So let's say backslash and n, and it's a special character in programming, also in Python, that says go to a new line. So you're going to write hello, you're going to jump to a new line, you're going to write Python is awesome, you're going to jump to a new line like that. So if I go ahead and run the code again, now if I go in here, you can see hello is on its own line, and then you have a new line, and then Python is awesome, and then you have a new line, but we didn't write anything actually in that new line. So yeah, that's basically. So if you delete this now won't put a new line, so it's just going to write Python is awesome, and then there's no new line. So that's basically how you can write content to a file. Okay, so once we have that done, now let's learn how to read content from a file. So let's this is going to be reading content. So reading from a file in Python. So once we have that, how do you read from a file in Python? Again, make sure you have your file open. Our file is open here. So let me just comment out all of this part of the code, and let's do it right here. So I'm going to open up a file in read mode. So I'm going to say open, and the file name is going to be text.txt, and the mode is going to be in a read mode. So we're going to open the file in a read mode. So once we have the file open, what you're simply going to go ahead and do is to read the content of the file. So I'm going to say some underscore text underscore one, right? I'm going to say text one is going to be str, because we're going to read text from the file, right? So I'm going to say f dot read. So what f dot read does is going to read the content of that file. So I'm going to go ahead and simply print out some text text one. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the code. You get back hello and then world. So it reads the content of the file. Good. Now what if you want to just read just a couple of lines of the file? So I can just go ahead and simply read a line. So let's say I want to read the first 11 characters, and it's going to read hello world. But if I increase this to let's say 14, and if I run the code again, we read also hello world and some pi and y, right? So that's basically, you can specify how many characters you want to read. Also remember that space is also characters in programming, right? So that's how you can read a file in Python. Okay, in Python. So like read some characters from that. So let's learn how to read. We also have the read line. So read line is going to read just you look for you a single line. So it's going to read the word, there's line hello, and then where the hello has a special character /n. That's why you're getting the empty new space right here, because that's /n. So what if you don't want to don't want to have this the special character /n? So you can we learn the string method of strip, right? So you can do the strip, and if you do the strip, this extra line should be gone, right? So that's how you can read a line, right? Just a single line. Just like this line I mean by reading a single line. So if you have even 10,000 words here, it's just going to read that single line. Okay, so now let's learn how to read lines. So you can say read lines. So read line is going to read all the lines. Okay, so it's going to read all the lines, means that the first line and the second line, if there are 10,000 lines, it's going to reach all of them, and it's going to put them in form of a list. Okay, Python list. So if you run the code again, now we should see the code in form of a Python list right here. So you can actually use this to iterate to print out every line of code. So I can just let me comment this out, and I can just go say for line in let's say f dot read lines. I can call the read lines. Okay, so once I have that, I can simply go ahead and down here I can simply say print line. I want to go ahead and strip, remove any empty any backslashes. Okay, then I print it out to get back hello world. Okay, so that's basically. So if I don't have the strip method, then we'll have the \n, and which is gonna keep a new space, you see, Yeah, so to remove that, that's why I have the strip method there. So let me just go back. I have some error here. Yeah, so now if I run the code again, now you should get back hello world, and then a new line. Python is awesome. So that's it for reading a file, reading and writing to files. Now let's learn how to close files, because in programming it's always a good practice to close any resource that you open, right? So if maybe you're going outside of your house, you open the door, you need to close the door afterwards, right? So that's a good practice in programming as well, to always close any resource that you open, because you don't want to leave resources open in programming. That makes your programs inefficient, okay, and wasteful user of resources. So now let's go ahead and simply learn how to close the file. So we have the file open in the read mode. So to close the file, let's say the name the variable storing the file, and you call the close method, right? The close method, and that's going to go ahead and close the file. So that's basically how you can close files in Python. Okay, good. We have learned all that. Now, in the last story, we learned about exception handling. So let's try to open a file that does not exist. So let me just try to say, let me just say put in here 2. We don't have any file called, if you look in my current directory, we don't have any file called test2. We only have test.txt. We don't have text2.txt. So what should we do? Our program crashes, right? Say no such file or directory, text2.txt. So we can actually handle that by using a try and except block. So let me just go back in here. I'm just going to go ahead and comment, copy this, and then comment out this part of the code and comment this part. So I'm just going to go ahead and exception handling in files. Okay. So once I'm going to have a try block, and try block, I'm going to try to read a file that does not exist. So I'm going to simply make this to be 3 or 2, whatever. I'm going to accept I'm going to accept the exception as E, and then I can just go ahead and print out E, and then say print. I have my own message, and then say failed to open, right? Failed to open file. Okay. So yeah, let me just make sure I have that error fixed, so it's actually print. So that's basically it. So once if I try to open the file again and the file doesn't exist, we just get back no file or directory text3.txt, and we also get our own custom message failed to open file. So that's basically how you can also use exception handling in open file. So good. So once you have all this out of the way, remember we talked about context manager, right? A context manager. I think we did about context manager right here. So we talk about a context manager. Let me just copy this part of the code, and let me paste it down here and uncomment that part of the code. So we talk about exception, a context manager basically. And why do we need a context manager? The reason why we need a context manager, I told you that it's always a good practice to close any resource that you open, right? Like you're closing the file that you open. Using a context manager, you don't have to worry about closing the file, because sometimes in programming, and a lot of programmers make this mistake, you open the file, even I do, you open the file and then you forget to close the file, right? So using a context manager, once you open the file, it will automatically close the file for you once you're done using the file. So you don't have to worry about trying to remember to close the file. It will automatically do that for you. So that's the power of using a context manager. So once I open this file, once it's done, it's going to go ahead and close that file for me, so I don't have to worry about anything. So let me just open this file in a read mode, and in here I'm just going to go here and just simply I'm going to say for line in f.read lines, right? To read all the lines. So I'm going to go ahead and simply print line.strip, right? Remove any new line for us special character. So you can see we print out the text information, and once I'm done, it's going to go ahead and close this file for me. So once I'm done, once I'm not inside of this block anymore, the while block, right, it's going to close the code for me. So if I go print here, at this point at the point I'm reaching this print statement, the file is already closed because you're already out of this context block. So that's the power of using a context manager basically. So good. Now I'm going to go ahead. Let's do some bit of practice. So now let's say that we want to copy the context of the content of this file to another file programmatically. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and try to do it. So I'm going to open this file, where you want to copy from. We are going to open it. Now I want to go ahead and just cut this part of the code right now. I want to open another file. I'm going to say open, and I'm going to say text underscore 2.txt, and I'm going to open it in append mode. So append mode is going to create a file in case the file does not currently exist. So if I go back in here, append mode, creates new file if it does not exist. So right now we don't have file2.txt, so it's going to go ahead and create a file2.txt, and I'm going to open this file. I'm going to open it as f2, so f file2, right? So I'm going to go here and paste the code that I copied previously, and then just indent this. I'm going to read everything from f1, which is the first file that has the content you want to copy, and you're going to go ahead and simply copy it into file2. So I'm going to go ahead and do f2 dot write, write, and I'm going to go ahead and write the line inside of it. So copying each line from file 1 and then going ahead and pasting it in file 2. So that's basically what you're going to do. So once I go ahead and can run the code again, and once you can see now we have text2 by here, and you can see it has the same content as this one right here, test.txt. So that's basically how you can work with files and stuff like that. So just a given challenge for you guys to practice. Open an image file and copy its content from one file to another. So that's basically copy an image programmatically using Python. So let me just give you a tip when working with images or and like music videos, music or music files or video files. All those files are written in binary format. So make sure that you open the file in binary. So you can say read and then binary, right? So we're reading binary information. Okay, good. So you're just reading binary information in this thing, the same, and if you're writing, you say write binary, just like that. So the same concept applies. So we're just adding the B in front of it, and we talk about the B is just opening the file in binary mode. So you can read in binary, you can write binary and stuff like that. So you want to open the file in binary mode whenever you're working with things like images, music files, and video files. Okay, so we want to open it and then read the content of one image file and paste it in another image file. So that's just a practice for you to challenge yourself with. Okay, so that's all for this video about working with files in Python. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, and subscribe, okay, because I'll be uploading all the videos on the introduction to programming with Python series course. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.